President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's nationwide broadcast in relation to the End Bad Governance protest, why it is empty and uninspiring. In this video, I'll be sharing with you my expert opinion on why the president's nationwide broadcast is empty and uninspiring. This is surely the station to watch, Politik with Omoshola Deji. Now, after so much clamor, the president had come out and say, "Oh, now I want to speak to you." But in such a nationwide broadcast that is expected of a president before the protest anyway, I strongly believe that if the broadcast had come up before the protest, maybe it would have doused some tensions if the president can give a convincing speech. But I doubt that if this broadcast had come out before the End Bad Governance protest, it's not going to make any difference. It's just going to make people more annoyed. It's just going to increase the anger of the people because the speech is empty and uninspiring. The president spent much of the time, he wasted a lot of time trying to see that he re-echo the achievement of his administration. The achievement of this administration, what his administration is doing, is a matter of public knowledge. People are seeing it, people are aware of it. The president has made speech before, people have listened to it in the news. His political hallelujah boys have defended it in the media, but yet people decide they want to protest, which means that they are dissatisfied with the policies of the president. They feel it's not working, and or they feel a change of strategy is necessary. So if people are protesting to demand for a change of strategy, and you are addressing the protesters and you are still coming up to re-echo what you have done, that's a that's a miss point. The president, I believe, should have used the opportunity of that speech to address critical issues that is happening to the country. Now, I'm going to go into the details of the presidential broadcast. The president took time to say what his administration has been doing in terms of, removal of fuel subsidy, why it is justified, why Nigerians have only been using petrol, diesel, and has abandoned the usage of gas, and the usage of gas will be beneficial to the economy via the use of CNG buses. Now, the president failed to consider that how many people really can be able to afford transforming their bus from petrol to gas, because it's not going to be free, and government has not set up centers whereby these CNG buses will be transformed for free, that it will be transformed from petrol or diesel to gas for free. And government perhaps is not looking into, on the long run, the force of demand and supply. If everybody is changing their car from petrol to diesel, at the end of the day, the price of maintaining a CNG bus is going to go up based on the principle of demand and supply. Just as before, when people were using kerosene, gas was cheap. But when people began to use gas and everybody was trooping into the gas station, the cost of gas now is expensive. So when you say CNG buses, are you going to convert it for the people for free? Then bringing the CNG buses, if you say it is an achievement, how convenient is it to bring SOCOM into the life of Nigerians? To what extent will it bring some convenience and SOCOM into the life of Nigerians? The president talked about student loan. I'm still going to come to why the speech is empty and uninspiring, but I'm trying to bring you up to speed about what the president have said in his speech. In case you missed the speech, I will add it to the end of this my video for YouTube. I may not be able to for Facebook, so that's why you need to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Politik with Omoshola Deji. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow my Facebook page, and let's keep it real. Now, the president spoke about student loan of 45.6 billion. He said 45.6 billion has been budgeted for student loan. Let's not forget, this is a loan. And if you collect a loan, you are indebted and you must pay. So one of the demands of the End Bad Governance protesters is, why not give us grant instead of loan? What Nigerians need is a grant, not loan. Or just reduce the cost of education. Instead of you paying us the money to come and pay it back to you as school fees, faculty dues, departmental dues, why not just reduce the cost of education? Why not make education affordable and accessible to the people instead of giving loans? Because a loan is a debt. What happens when people now graduate from school and they have no jobs and they are now unable to pay the loan? So the loan is definitely most likely going to be a bad debt, because the president, when he approves it, the disbursement of the loan, and people get the loan, the beneficiaries of the loan are going to graduate without a job. So if they graduate without a job, how do they pay back the loan? So the people are saying, instead of loan, give us grant. So the president still came in the broadcast to say, oh, student loan of 45.6 billion has been disbursed. He spoke about Consumer Credit Corporation, which much details when given about how that is really going to impact on the life of Nigerians. Other agencies have not impacted in the life of Nigerians anyway. Consumer protection, we have low quality goods flooding, substandard goods flooding the Nigerian market, and you begin to ask yourself, where is the Consumer Protection Authority in Nigeria? The president spoke about reducing debt to burden. That, oh, he is using debt to revenue ratio. That before, government was using 90-something% of its earning to pay back our debt. But now, government is using about 60-something. He lists that as an achievement, that he has been able to reduce our debt to revenue ratio. But what the president failed to state, which the people are clamoring about, is you are acquiring more debt. Even if you've reduced the debt to revenue ratio, unfortunately, Mr. President, you are acquiring more debt. You are putting Nigeria into more debt. And people are saying, no, we don't want this. We don't want you to incur a debt that the generation unborn will find it difficult to pay. But the president apparently have not listened and is saying, oh, he has reduced debt to revenue ratio. Don't forget that the president, what the Buhari government borrowed in 8 years, what they borrowed in 8 years, the Tinubu government have borrowed almost that in just 1 year. And that is one of the reasons why the people are clamoring. Then if you say you are now earning more via the removal of fuel subsidy, if you are earning more, why are you still borrowing more? Why are you borrowing significantly? You are earning more right now than the Buhari administration due to the removal of fuel subsidy. And now you have borrowed almost what the Buhari government borrowed in 8 years. So that is contradictory. That is you speaking from both sides of the mouth. Because if you are earning more, why are you borrowing more? You are earning more, why are you borrowing more? So the president, you just try to, I think maybe the president is convinced by his works and achievement, because most times in the statement that he gave in the broadcast, he just tried to re-echo the achievement of his administration. He also listed the Sokoto Calabar Highway, that is doing the Sokoto Calabar Highway and all that. All these things are what people already know, are what people are criticizing, that the Sokoto Calabar Highway, is it what people need right now? People have been always going from Sokoto to Calabar. So the existing highway now, why not run a maintenance of it? People are also saying that what is the cost of this highway when you blend it with the cost of highways in other African countries? Why is it very expensive? People are also saying that the awarding of the contract is not transparent, that the president literally awarded the Sokoto Calabar Highway to his should I say friend or political partner, and people are criticizing it that there was no much bidding, it was just unilaterally given to the company at an exorbitant cost. So re-echoing all these things, it just make the statement empty. What do I mean by empty? If a statement doesn't bring in new things, if a statement of a president doesn't bring in anything new, then the statement is empty. So the presidential broadcast that was meant to address the end bad governance protesters has not yielded any result. And I will now show you why the president broadcast has not yield any result, and why it is not convincing, why it is not consolatory, why it is uninspiring and empty. Now, no new ideas were shared in that presidential broadcast. We expect that a presidential broadcast like that, the president is going to share new ideas. Oh, you are saying that we should run government this way. This is how we have been doing it, but we hope to now run it this way, hopefully that it will bring new results. That's an effective presidential statement. We've been running the government this way. Nigerians, by popular demand, are protesting. This is the result we've gotten. Now we'll try and change this and that and run government this way. Maybe we can now get a different result that will be soothing to the Nigerian populace. In this presidential statement, that wasn't done. That was a missed opportunity. The presidential statement is an opportunity to share new ideas. New ideas. Give Nigerians new things. Give them new vibes. But the president unfortunately missed that, one in a lifetime opportunity. The statement that is supposed to carry weight didn't carry any weight, unfortunately. And that's why I have questioned the intelligence of the presidential aides and whether they truly like the man. Because if you are drafting a speech as this, you should be responding directly to the demands of the protesters one after the other. The president didn't do that. He was re-echoing government actions that people said are unnecessary and inefficient. Unnecessary and inefficient. And to not make it worse, the president made reference to the end bad governance protests as politically sponsored. He still sees the protest as the handwork of his political enemies. And that's one major problem. That's a problem because the president needs to first of all accept that there is bad governance. That is the first way forward. If the president is yet to accept that there is bad governance in the country, there is a problem. First, he must accept that, there is bad governance, or there are some things that his government is not doing right and is willing to change and amend. But from that presidential speech, the president believes that everything is right, is doing his best, and the protest is just politically sponsored by people that don't like him. Imagine that. He didn't believe that the protest is organic. You now ask yourself, who has the capacity to bring up such a protest? Is it Peter Obi, that in the election he didn't pass in the north, that want to organize such a mammoth protest in northern Nigeria? Is it Atiku Abubakar that has the capacity, Atiku Abubakar that is becoming politically expired, that want to organize such a protest in the length and breadth of Nigeria? So, saying that this protest is politically sponsored, that it is the handwork of people that wants to have a change of government, is very, very saddening. It is very, very saddening. So, I believe that the president missed the opportunity by emphasizing that the protest is politically sponsored. No, it is not politically sponsored. To the best of my knowledge, this is an organic protest. So if politicians now want to feed on it, then it brings your government to light that you need to change your strategy and you need to walk towards the direction of where the people want. That is just it. So I'm so sad that the president sees the protest largely more from a political perspective than a socio-economic clamor for convenience perspective. And that is very saddening. This protest is largely, we can't erase political influence, like the Zamfara state government said that it is the PDP, which is the opposition in the state, that led people to come and occupy the government house. Maybe, maybe not. But this protest is largely from a socio-economic clamor perspective. Now, the president failed to address how to reduce the cost of governance, which is very important. He failed to address how to reduce the cost of governance. People are clamoring that governance is too expensive. The cost of governance is overwhelming. How do you reduce the cost of governance? The president failed to address it, which is a very wrong thing to do. You ought to address the cost of governance, that, we have almost 50 ministries, the highest in the country. Now, I have heard you, I am going to reduce it to 30 or 36, because each state of the Federation and the FCT must have a minister representing it in the Federal Executive Council. So you'd have thought that the president would say that, okay, now I'm going to reduce it to 37, 36 plus the FCT. People would have praised him that he has reduced the cost of governance. If the president had announced that every political office holder, including him, will now be receiving treatment in the country, thereby reducing medical tourism, people would have praised him. So this presidential block is just a strategy from the president. It is an empty statement. It is uninspiring. It didn't address the core demands of the protesters. How do you reduce the cost of governance? People are clamoring that legislation should be part-time in the country. I expect the president to say that he's going to send a bill to the National Assembly to consider whether Nigeria can have a unicameral legislature. What do I mean by that? A unicameral legislature is whereby you have one legislative house. Instead of having Senate and House of Representatives, we are going to have just one. Imagine the cost of maintaining them, salary, offices, annulment, staff, that is going to save the country. So if the president had come out to say, I want to send a bill for the National Assembly to consider unicameralism from 2027, the president has pushed the buck to the National Assembly. So people will now face the National Assembly. They will divert their protest to the National Assembly. So the president has exonerated himself. If he can rule out things that he will do in the executive to reduce governance, then he should now push the rest to the National Assembly. Nigerians would have praised him that, Mr. President, you are doing well. So if the president have said how the cost of Gari is going to reduce, how the cost of rice is going to reduce, how electricity is going to be made available, how government is going to improve health care, people would have praised him. But he didn't talk about how these things will be addressed, and he didn't talk about main thing, which is the cost of governance, whereby political appointees will be moving about in convoy of SUVs, whereby they will be using our security agencies to protect themselves when Nigerians are not protected. These are the things that the people are talking about, and they want the president to change. These are the bad governance that they want the president to change. Now the president also failed to talk about how to increase accountability and eradicate corruption. This wasn't addressed. This is one of the protests. This is one of the demands of the End Bad Governance protesters, that you should, as a president, talk about how to increase accountability, how to eradicate corruption. When you go into police station, how will the police not tell you to pay money before they can investigate your case, or before the person you are accusing of doing wrong to you can be arrested? How do you increase accountability in governance? I was expecting that the president would talk about corruption, people that are found corrupt, that are alleged to have stolen public funds, how the government is going to go all out to make sure they retrieve the funds, people that benefited from petroleum subsidy, that government has now packed the blame, the burden on Nigerians. Government have passed the burden to Nigerians. How those people are going to be apprehended and prosecuted, and those funds are going to be retrieved. The president didn't make any speech as regards this. How the government is going to tackle corruption, the investigation of the CBN governor. The president didn't speak about it as regards tackling corruption, even though people think that Emefiele is just being used as a fall guy because he refused to play ball during the election. The case of Betta Edu, the president failed to restate his commitment to anti-corruption, that the humanitarian ministry where large corruption was alleged to have been perpetrated, the government is going to go all out. The case of Yaya Bello is also pending. So the president failed to speak about how to eradicate corruption, how technology is going to be used to eradicate corruption in the country, thereby saving money for the government, thereby increasing the money that will come to government cover, because when anti-corruption is eradicated, government will have more money, and what this money will be used for. So largely the president's speech is empty because he doesn't provide anything new. He doesn't address the demands of the protesters. Uninspiring because he didn't give any new hope. There's nothing to hold on to in the president's speech that you can now say, oh, now I'm hopeful that things will turn around. Now I think I shouldn't protest again. I'm convinced that the president is now on top of the situations in the country and things are going to turn around. No. So you ask yourself that what is going on? Mr. President, why is your speech so empty? Why is it uninspiring? Are you just giving the speech just to fulfill all righteousness? Why? We want to hear new things, not the things that you've done before. We want to hear new strategy, what you are going to be doing differently, not you coming to re-echo what you've done before and justifying it because this is what you've been doing and Nigerians are not convinced that it is right, and that led to the protest. So I think the president could have done better, and his communication aides could have done a much better job. So for me, from an expert opinion, as a political scientist, I strongly believe the president's speech is empty, it is uninspiring, it is non-consolatory, and it doesn't give any renewed hope. I remain my humble self, your friend, your brother, the political scientist, Dr. Omosholadeji, political scientist, public affairs analyst. Please share this video to your people. Don't learn alone. Let's enjoy it together. Share to different people. This is the channel where you get in-depth analysis of politics and happenings in the polity. So if you are yet to subscribe to my channel on YouTube, Politics with Omosholadeji, please go and subscribe. This is a video coming between my series on Is There Truly Bad Governance in Nigeria? The episode 1 is out. I'm going to release the episode 2. It's in 3 episodes. So if you are opportune to watch this video and you hear me speaking right now, please go and subscribe to my YouTube channel because that's where I drop it out. And also on Facebook, Politics with Omosholadeji. Go and follow me on Facebook. I want to read your comment. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to read your opinion. Reach out to me. I'm always available. I love you all. Till I see you again, make sure you stay tuned to this channel and turn on the notification button. Till I see you again very soon, very, very soon. Stay safe.